You know what the Laymen and Epic Games have in common? We both have so much money that we
right.
don't even know what to do with it. We're just like rolling in cash.
Yeah, I drive a Ferrari.
Correct.
Ralph rides the bus. It's great.
Exactly right. But that doesn't make any sense. That
doesn't make any sense.
That literally just destroys the joke, okay?
Any change, mister? Absolutely.
Okay, Epic Games has too much money. So they've decided that what they want to do with that money is they want to go to war with our Lord and Savior, Gabe Newell. Okay, they've decided that Valve's time at the top of the PC pile is over.
Yeah.
They're here to destroy his domain. Everything the money touches is Gabe's kingdom. Until now.
God, that was terrible. just intro. Okay guys, so everyone knows Fortnite, okay? It's become like the biggest game in the world. I know I've told this story before. Me and Ralph were at E3. It was an absolute nothing game. They're like, play this new game. We're like, alright, fine. We weren't sure what it was going to be. 4 or 5 months later, it became like the biggest game in the world, right? Now it's making like $200 million a month.
Crazy. That's Layman money right there.
That's Layman money right there. And they're really looking for ways to spend that money. And one way that they're doing it is reinvesting in the game. There's always constant updates with content, events going on. I don't think I've ever seen a game that does that, really. Like a constant dedication to like every week pretty much I see new content for Fortnite.
Pretty much.
And another way that they're doing it is the eSports. You know, like there's a huge eSports community. They're putting a lot of money behind that. And you know...
Do you know there's a German politician who wants to exterminate the word esports?
Oh my god, really?
Really need to come up with some new words, Germany.
I was going to say, Germany, that's not the word I think you should be using these days.
Buddy. That's not okay.
No, I really don't think so.
The other thing I think Fortnite are doing very often, the other thing I think Epic Games are doing... On the esports side, they're literally making $100 million available to local tournaments. So if you want to run some little local tournament at some town hall or some university or some whatever, you can apply for funding from Epic Games and they will give you money, and they have $100 million available to do that. Which is just an absurd amount of money.
I think they're the Oprah of games. They just giving away shit, heaps of content, here's some stuff.
So now they've run out of ways to spend money on their game, and they need to figure out new ways to spend money, okay? One thing they recently did was they changed the revenue split on their engine. So Epic Games own the Unreal Engine. The Unreal Engine is what powers a very large number of games. Like a very chunky percentage of what you're playing now is powered by one of the different Unreal Engines that they own. And before there was a revenue split model of, I think it was around 12%. They've dropped that recently to about 5% because they want to be more pro-developer. They want to encourage more innovation. They want to make it easier for developers to make games. And by them taking less money, it allows them to do that. So that's good guy Epic Games
definitely,
number one.
But also it's a marketing strategy, of course, because they understand they look pro-developer, they look pro-consumer, all that kind of stuff.
So that was number one, right? The latest attempt now to like dump their money over the edge because their ship is flooded with money. They're like, quick, we gotta get rid of some of this money. Is a new competitor to Steam, a new Steam style store called the Epic Games Store. Now let's take it back a step. Let's talk about Steam.
Let's talk about good old Steam. Okay?
Now Valve used to make video games.
Once upon a time.
Those are the days.
I'm still waiting for Half-Life 3.
They just released good meme, Sam. That's really top.
No one's ever made that one before.
They just released Artifact, which is a card game, and call, I guess, whatever else. If you love card games and you like spending lots of money on card games, then Artifact's going to be for you. But for most people, it's like, okay, whatever, I'm not really interested in that.
Totally. Okay? And I'm surprised based on how much money they have, based on how much success they have with the games that they have made, like Half-Life or like Dota or whatever. It's surprising to see them step back so much from games in general.
I think it's just because they're making all the money in the world from Steam. Steam is this basically monopoly platform.
Hello, this is Gabe Newell.
You must be the Monopoly guy.
First Blood.
There are other platforms out there where you can buy games. Like, for example, Good Old Games, which is pretty good, by the way. Discord recently set up their own store as well. There's a couple of others, but let's be real. Steam is the main game. It's 98% of market share, essentially, is going to be Steam. Other publishers have started to set up their own platforms, their own, like, you know, Uplay and the Bethesda launcher. Well,
you want to know how I got these scars?
And all these other ones. And the reason they're doing that is because Steam had charged up to 30% revenue share. Now Steam have recently dropped their revenue share, and they've gone from just a flat 30% to a tiered system where if you make over a certain amount of money, you'll only have to pay about 20% to Steam. Okay,
but that's like really 50 million sales.
Correct.
Right?
That really only favors
an obscene number for like small creators. They're just trying to make it. Those tiered systems just do not apply.
It really only favors the big guys because if you're a small creator, you're still going to be paying a lot. And it's pretty unfair that, you know, the idea that if you're really big, you're going to be making more money, and if you're really small, you're still going to be suffering, you know? That's pretty shitty. All of this serves as a bit of a prelude to Epic Games, who today announced their own store, which is going to be live in the new year. They're going to be providing some more detail on it at the Game Awards this Friday. Ooh. But it's a really, really attractive proposition, and we'll talk you through why.
So the first big thing is the revenue split, okay? So as we said, Steam is usually 30%, tiered system maybe to 20%, right? Now, the Epic Games Store is going to be 12%. That's a huge difference. Now, of course, if you're a big publisher, then maybe it's a saving of 8%.
Yeah, because you would have paid 20% before because you were making over 50 million. Now you're going to be paying 12%. But still, that's 8%. It's pretty chunky.
That's a huge amount.
Pretty decent.
Especially for small creators. I think this is going to be a really pro small developer kind of platform.
Correct.
You know, if they can shave 18% off what they're going to be originally giving away, that means a lot of opportunity for, you know, growth into the actual game, more money to, you know, put sales on for the game, all that kind of stuff. So that firstly is a huge game changer in my opinion.
The other big thing with this in regards to the cost is that if you use the Unreal Engine, you need to pay 5% of your revenue to Epic Games, okay? If you sell your game through the Epic Games Store, you no longer need to pay 5%. It's part of the 12% that you're being charged. So let's say, for example, you were on Steam and you were before paying 30% to Steam and 5% to Epic Games, right? You're paying 35% of your revenue in total to other people. Now, if you sell through the Epic Store, you are only paying a total of 12%.
Totally.
That is an absolute game changer for pretty much any developer.
Exactly.
And I think really, most developers are going to start looking at this, even the big guys, and think, do we want to saddle up for this? And do we want to just sort of go with this platform rather than manage our own? Because at 12%, it becomes a pretty reasonable outsource cost.
Very much so.
Versus the cost of managing your own platform, your own infrastructure, all that bullshit. But the big thing that they're doing is a creator affiliate program. Now, what this means... Do you want to explain it?
I was going to say,
Okay,
every time we get to talk...
money.
I'm Dr. David Hill, and today we're going to talk about how to relieve an earache.
Every time we get to talk about a game, right, we then, apparently, a YouTuber can put a link in there and you can buy that game through the platform, and then it actually supports the YouTuber also.
So, for example, when the laymen talk about Fallout 76, and we're like,
we're
guys,
leave a link.
Fallout 76, great game. In the description below is a link. Good. Go and buy it from the Epic Games Store.
So
we will get paid from that.
And we'll just make sure the link doesn't work.
That's right.
For Fallout 76, the link won't work.
But it's really smart marketing, because what it means is that you're going to have creators like us, streamers, bloggers, whatever else, who have big audiences, like us, because we have a gigantic audience.
Tiny.
We're a very big deal. We're going to be sort of talking about games, and then at that point, we're going to say, okay, cool, if you want to buy this game, go and buy it through the Epic Games Store. We're going to be essentially promoting it, right? And that's just a fact. That's what a lot of creators will choose to do.
Sure.
Steam does not offer anything like that, and they're missing out on a huge promotion outlet because they're not tapping into that, you know, that creator slash influencer, you know, sellout mob.
I wonder if we're going to see some channels, definitely not, probably Shill Up, that don't like a game, right? But then they know they can make bank out of it, so they put like links in the description saying, "Oh man, this game's fantastic."
Fallout 76.
People buy Fallout and they're like, "Oh, hang on, this game
sucks."
That actually might start happening.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, Twitch have been offering these sort of affiliate sales things for a while now, and they recently just got rid of that program because it was unsuccessful.
Yeah, really.
So
okay.
I don't imagine that people are going to start like shilling games that they don't think are good, like trashing their reputation. But
that's true. Have we told you that Fallout is actually really good? And not to mention, Diablo Immortal looks fantastic.
It does.
Trust me.
All of that's a pretty valuable proposition.
It is.
I think it represents the first time that Steam has ever been properly challenged.
Yeah.
Its monopoly is sort of like, you know, Discord. They don't care about that. You know, good old games, very small time. But this is the first time where I've seen something come along where I'm like, hey, that might actually work.
Yeah, I think this is the time where Steam will need to change.
Yeah.
I really do think that because it's so pro-developer, pro-small developer.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's also very pro-consumer because it's really giving the audience more of a choice of smaller games that never maybe would have got off the ground. I think it's the time that Steam will need to change. I think it's going to be 6-12 months, maybe 2 years or whatever, that we do see a change in Steam's you know, percentage of what they want to take.
Yep.
But I think the bigger question here is, how valuable is an aggregator in the future? Because as we touched on before, you know, EA's already doing this stuff, Bethesda's got their platform, Blizzard's already got their platform, you know, with 5G coming around, everyone's going to be playing on their phones. Is there just going to be apps for like different publishers and Steam or the new Epic Games Store? Are they really going to be valuable in the future?
Well, I mean, I personally think, as I said, at 12%, it makes a lot of sense for a company to consider this as something that they would just outsource and say, fuck it, we don't want to have the Origin launcher anymore. It's too annoying, it's too expensive.
Yep.
Let's just run through the Epic Games launcher.
Sure.
It's a better deal,
Yeah.
you know? We don't know the economics of that, but I would say that they're definitely going to be asking those questions because at that revenue split, it's a very good deal.
I think that originally, you know, a lot of these companies have pumped a lot of money into marketing these new platforms that they own entirely. I definitely think if Steam was to continue to be the big dog, we would have seen that shift, you know? But now, with this new Epic Games Store, I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I really think that a lot of these big companies are going to have to look back at the drawing board and go, 12%, I don't know, man. We can actually still make a lot of money and we don't need to do this.
Yeah,
So it's a huge game changer.
Either way,
Sure.
I really welcome it. I think it's a great step. I would love to have a serious competitor to Steam.
Totally.
Epic Games have the right sort of DNA with regards to how they're approaching their game and how they're approaching the industry. So I wish them all the luck in the world. When it goes live, I will absolutely download it. I'll check it out.
Totally.
And then hopefully I'll start buying games from there because like I think Steam needs a good kick up the arse and this feels like it.
I think it might be the first time that we might see the end of Gabe.
Kind of makes me want to play Doom.